Today we're jumping into my build breakdown of my favorite and first build, my Gunslinger. Now, because this was my first build, I knew that I just wanted to play with a gun that I really enjoyed to mess around with, and for me, that was revolvers. Now, all footage I record here today will be played on the hardest difficulty of the game, really showing you the potential of this character. So because my whole goal with this character was to just have a ton of fun with this revolver, I knew that I had to build my character around that sort of mechanic, and rather than maxing out 3 of the main attributes, I decided to actually distribute points a little different, and it actually ended up making a really fun, really interesting class. In the grand scheme of things, because you can just respec at any time, the only thing that actually matters is where your attribute points are. From there, you can kind of divide, you can make things work. For instance, I prefer to go down the ninjutsu tree, whereas I know a lot of people love the cold blood tree a lot. I did put a lot of thought into where these points are placed. Technically, I only needed 11 here to make this build work, but I decided I wanted the additional 5% health over the other bonuses that these two would give. So let's go over the key perks that I think really make this build work. First, honestly, surprisingly, is in the body. It is multitasker and divided attention. These 2 perks are what really make this idea of a gunslinger thrive for me. It allows me to shoot, reload, and sprint all at the same time, and it's so much fun. Also, because this was my first playthrough, I knew that I wanted to do some stealth because I love sneaking through rooms. I think it's such a fun way to play a game. So I think the ninjutsu tree really catered to that playstyle that I love. The absolute 3 that I think are a must within this is sniper, silent and deadly, and assassin. These 3 just increase damage overall. This is kind of what lets me one-shot dudes while I'm hidden, and if I remain undetected, which if I'm far enough away, does help me to be able to just clean rooms 1 shot per guy, which is kind of the goal. Because with revolvers and the reload, you want to just 1-shot people. One perk that used to be a must for me was Frozen Precision, but now after the 1.5 update, it did get nerfed quite heavily. I had a bunch of extra points, so I just started sinking them into this tree. Under the tech tree, I just unlocked the ability to craft everything for cheaper and for free potentially. And this is honestly where I make my money. This is where I'm able to buy everything and anything I want is through crafting. Also, I love to dabble in tech guns, so this is purely for my decision. You can make this decision on your own depending on how you want to spec certain things and what kind of guns you want to use. Now under reflexes, this is where it's at, handguns. As you can see, I have completely filled this skill tree. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what you're caring about is anything that increases damage. So Rio Bravo is going to be a good one. Grand Finale is great. Fistful of Euro dollars is also an amazing one. But I think the most important one within the handgun tree is going to be Wild West. Removes damage fall off from distances. This allows your pistols and revolvers to shoot like snipers. Doesn't matter where you are, you get the same damage. It's amazing. Also, it takes a lot of work, but the good, the bad, the ugly is an incredible one for really getting the max potential out of this pistol build. Again, sometimes I respec, and rather than having a lot of points in assault, I'll put a lot of points into blades, just depending on how I feel or what's going on. And with my ability to craft and make money, respecking for 26,000 isn't that big a deal to me. Quick side note, if you're wanting to make some money through crafting, the Ashura Sniper, definitely the best to craft and sell. Sells for a lot of money, and it doesn't cost that much when you have the upgrades. Now let's go over my guns of choice for this build. Obviously, the revolver is my favorite. I specifically chose Crash, the iconic version that you get from River Ward, because it has the highest base damage and headshot damage multiplier out of any revolver. Through my testing, I found after the 1.5 update, it's better to go for increased damage over increased crit damage in the mod slot. I found that with increased crit, I got on average around 35,000, whereas with increased damage, I was getting closer to 50 with a silenced headshot. Next, because my pistol tree is filled and I love pistols, I went for Lizzie. I love Lizzie. The thermal stacking on this gun is insane and it's a ton of fun. This is a gun you get right after completing the heist. After you go talk with Judy, it'll be in that kind of room there. Again, I went with the damage boost because I found that just worked better. Next is the Widowmaker. This is a gun you get after completing your first mission with Pan Am. I love tech guns because if you're ever in a pinch in a tight situation where there's way too many enemies, you can hide behind walls and just charge up and shoot through walls. It's, to me, one of the most broken things, but it just is fun. My next weapon of choice is the Overwatch Sniper you get from Pan Am. This gun is just the absolute highest damage that this character can output. I'm still on average breaking hundreds of thousands with this gun, especially because I have points in the rifle and sniper tree. Also, the fact that it has ricochet damage, and if you just shoot the ground in front of someone you can kill them, is kind of cool. I found that this one that has a custom silencer, and it has the highest base damage out of any sniper I've found. Lastly, we have Johnny's pistol, and to be real, this gun is a little underwhelming compared to most of my other guns, but it's just such a fun gun to run around with, definitely more of a novelty for me. One quick note I do want to make is I know a lot of people love the Comrade's Hammer when it comes to pistol tech builds, but I found I can't stand the reload time on this thing. The fact that it's only one shot, yes, it does an insane amount of damage, but it just is so slow to reload and reshoot again. Not only that, but I kind of went a sneaky build, so the fact that this just completely reveals me, I don't like it. Now, because this is a tech pistol kind of rifle build, there are a couple other guns that are iconic that I would say definitely try them out, have some fun with them. One of them is the Breakthrough. Don't forget it's a tech gun and you can charge it. Didn't know that for a large majority of my playthrough. Charging this thing does significantly more damage. One of my other favorite guns, but unfortunately I chose the wrong path with it, was Skippy. I didn't look up anything about the game before I played it, so I didn't know this gun would switch on me, and so my Skippy is stuck shooting body shots now, so it just doesn't do the crit damage kind of stacking that my build was meant to do, but Skippy is an incredible gun. Another really fun one is Archangel, which is the other iconic revolver you get in the game. Don't mind that I have 4 of them. I do really like this gun, but the big difference for me was the headshot damage multiplier, and that's why I ended up with the crash you get from River. Next is an area that I think could get easily overlooked when you're building a character, which is the cyberware and mods. Quick tip, each Ripper doc kind of has their own set specialty. So if you want specific items, you have to go to those specific Ripper docs. For example, if you want the orange tier optical camo, there's a specific guy down in Watson where you can get it. And some are kind of hidden. For instance, in the optical tree, there is the trajectory analysis that increases headshot bonus damage by 25%. This is huge. Mind you, it used to do 50 before 1.5, so it got nerfed. I believe you can pick this up from Victor in his shop. Victor's kind of the eye guy, so if you want the purple eyes and this, make sure to go check Victor. In the circulatory system, I'm mostly focused on mods that would kind of help keep me alive, maybe back some dudes off with this electrical damage just to kind of keep me alive longer. Same with this, heal on kill gives me 10% health back after each kill. Under my operating system, I decided to go for the Warp Dancer, and this is because if you notice, it increases my crit percent by 10% and crit damage by 35%. So if I'm really in a sticky situation, I can activate this and really do some serious damage. Also, it increased that by another 15% with this modifier. I'd say a lot of this is preference, but I have it all here if you need to see it. Next, I want to go over the clothes that I'm wearing and the mods I have on them. Now, this was the biggest change for me in 1.5 because I used to stack crit damage like none other, but I ended up now having to resort to the Armadillo mod. Even the Armadillo mod, though, was nerfed quite a bit from 270 down to 75 each, so it's definitely not doing what it used to do. However, with the new restrictions, that's really my only choice, unless I want to put on some resistances or anything like that. But I found that I just prefer a good Armadillo mod, especially because I have the crafting spec for it. I keep Armadillo mods on all of my torso and leg wear. However, with the shoes, I might decide to change out the Armadillo for a movement speed buff if I want to. That's really up to preference if you want to move a little bit faster. Now, choosing between the Bully mod and the Deadeye mod, I decided to go for Deadeye because this is a crit damage headshot focused build, and I found that I can get more damage out of the Deadeye one than Bully. Now, if you're going mostly assault rifles with this build or you're trying to stay that way, I'd say you're more than likely not going to be locking headshots the whole time, so Bully might be a better choice. But because this is a gunslinger and I'm trying to one-shot dudes, being able to lock headshots, knock them out is just the key to this build to me. Now, I did get a couple comments in my last video about the clothing I'm wearing, so I'll really quickly show you where I got them. First is just after unlocking Edge Runner Artisan and getting your crafting to level 12. This unlocks some crafting specs, allowing you to craft these shoes here.
First place you want to go is Jinguji. This clothing store is located right in the heart of the city. In here is where you're going to find the glasses that I like to wear and the jacket. If they don't show up for you, just make sure to wait a day. Also, to make sure you get the max amount of slots. As you can see here, this jacket only has 1. You want to make sure to get the 2 slot. Next clothing store you'll want to come to is right here. It's located in the south end of Westbrook. This store is going to have the black turtleneck. The next one is located way at the north end of Watson right here. This is where you're going to find the pants. Also, there's a really cool worn punk coat if you want that. Anyway, I think it's going to wrap it up for my Gunslinger build. If you have any further questions you want to ask down in the comments, I'll be there paying attention. So make sure to leave a comment. Let me know. Also, let me know if you think you're going to try this out. I really enjoy this one. It's so much fun being able to run, vault, and reload, shoot, everything. But also, if you need to sneak through a room, get stuff done. Anyways, that wraps it up. I'll see you guys in the next one.